What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Hopefully you guys are doing well, and today, boys, EA have gone ahead and released Icon Swap set number 2. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at all the objectives, all the options, and kind of letting you guys know which is the best value for your tokens and what you should choose from Icon Swaps 2. So if you find the video informational and helpful, don't forget to hit a big old thumbs up, and if you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe. And before we get into the video for today, I do want to apologize if my voice is a bit off. It's pretty early right now in Australia. It's like 5:30, 5 a.m. and I've just basically woken up, so that's kind of the main reason why, and hopefully I can get the information across pretty alright. But anyway, boys, let's start off by looking at the objectives, and of course we have the milestones tab, is where we're going to go into for Icon Swaps. And for the first 4 weeks, once again, like Icon Swaps 1, they've released 9 tokens available for you guys to go ahead and claim. So after these 4 weeks are done, there's going to be a total of 18 tokens, and you'll be able to claim those second set of 9 tokens when the new objectives releases in 4 weeks. So it's a bit of a pain that you can't claim them all at once, but that's just kind of the way EA does it. I don't like it because it kind of drags out the claimer for it, but that's just the way it is. But if you guys look at the objectives just generally overall, we have 3 online sets to go ahead and do. One of them is League One. As you guys can see, there's score in 10 separate matches with League One players, and the big iffy one with this one is that you have to assist with crosses, which can be really painful. So hopefully this one isn't too hard and terrible, and the hope is that for the majority of this, all of the guys should hopefully be playing golden goals, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time. That's kind of the hope. The one thing I did also notice is I think they might have messed up here, so I don't know if this will change or not. But usually what EA like to do is they like to go ahead and say score a finesse goal in 10 separate matches. This time they've only put 6, which means that the Serie A one, realistically, if you can get a through ball and a finesse at the same time, should only really take you 6 games. So that's kind of the hope. If they don't change that, that'd be very nice. And then finally, we do also have a La Liga one, which they've said assist with through ball in 5 separate matches. And then we've also got score in 10 separate matches. So a total of right now 26 games. I'm hoping it stays this way, and hopefully you should be able to get this done within 6 matches for the Serie A one. But definitely the hardest part, I think, out of all of the online stuff is going to be with the assists with crosses in 5 separate matches. It's going to be very painful. But the main idea to take away from this, try to play golden goal. Hopefully your opponents also do the same, and hopefully our entire community can kind of get all these objectives done pretty quickly. And then also on top of that, we do have the separate tab for Icon Swaps entirely, and this has 6 tokens in it. The first one, of course, is going to be for winning 13 FUT Champions matches, and I learned this over the last set. I didn't know it last time because they're weekend league, but FUT Champions matches refers to the playoffs and the finals. So don't worry if you can't qualify into the finals. You can also do this in the playoffs, and you've got a total of 4 weeks to get 13 wins. So you're averaging 3 to 4 wins, which is basically a qualification each time around. So as long as you can somewhat qualify and then get into one weekend league and play a bit of one weekend league, you should be fine with this one. And then also on top of that, we do have 5 Icon Swap squad battle objectives, and these ones unfortunately are just gonna be painful. They're gonna be very time consuming on your end. I think you may be able to combo up Eredivisie with German and like maybe first owners or something along these lines. You might be able to combo it up so you can get this down to 2 sets of 6, and if you can do that, that might be doable in 12. But regardless, this is going to take you a bit of time, regardless of whatever way you go about it, because it is just squad battles and there's no real easy shortcut way to do squad battles. So bit of a painful one with this one, but you do have 27 days, 28 days, so just make sure you spread it out, get it done over time, and it shouldn't really be too much of an issue. And as long as you're playing a game or 2 per day, you should be able to get this done by the time that these objectives expire. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into what the objectives are like. Once again, we'll have 9 tokens available for the first 4 weeks, and then for the second 4 weeks they'll release a second set of 9 tokens. But that's enough with the objectives. Now let's go ahead and look at the Icon Swap rewards that you're going to be able to get for this time around. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure the way they've done this in the menus is kind of backwards. Normally it's like the highest claim tokens at the back, but now it's at the front. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the forward part of it, and then I'll kind of rotate backwards. And what we're gonna talk about first, I believe, is I want to go through the players first, and then we'll talk about the packs. And the way I always see with the Icon Swaps is, if you guys have a player that you really want to claim, if it's like a fan favorite or one of those players that you really enjoyed watching growing up or earlier on, make sure you take that player, because you you actually guarantee that player. But besides that, we do have fodder packs as well as also icon packs, and I believe maybe an icon pick in here. I don't know entirely. And that might be something you also do want to claim. So the first player that we're going to be talking about, of course, is going to be Thierry Henry. It's the mid version, which isn't crazy, and it is available for 6 tokens. Now, if you want Henry, I don't actually know how much this card is on the market. I could quickly check it up, but I don't think he's anything too crazy, unfortunately, in FIFA. If EA have kind of disrespected Henry when it comes to his FIFA cards, because whenever you play with them, he's got a very big build, and he is a bit clunky, so it's not the most ideal. He is coming in at 350k, so if you're one of those like less hardcore players, 350k isn't crazily easy to go ahead and build up. And if you're a big like Arsenal fan or you're an Henry fan, maybe you want to go ahead and take it. I'm not crazy about this just because it's the mid version. This is a card that's been out for quite a while now, so it's one of those ones. And then also on top of that, again, he's not the most movable in FIFA, so it's nothing that I would highly recommend. But if you do want to take it, if you're a big Henry fan, you can go ahead and do it. My main issues with the card is just his build is a bit like larger. He's 6'2", and he's not the most movable with the agility and the balance. It's kind of a bit of yikes. So in this year's FIFA, especially when you need like movable cards to kind of work against the really deep setting defenses, this is not the most ideal card. Now, moving on to 7 tokens, we do have Xavi, of course, the Barcelona icon himself. 93, it's going to be the prime version of Xavi. And Xavi, I would say, as icons go, they've actually done him all right, because they could have given him like low pace, not the best shooting. This is a usable-ish card, and it will be a usable midfielder. But I think the problem with this, taking this sort of card this year, is that a lot of the midfielders and the defenders have been boosted very, very, very heavily. This card is not really above any sort of power curve. He's got great passing, great dribbling as well. I think those are the 2 really good stats on the card. But 81 pace on a midfielder and like 72 defense, 72 physical isn't anything too crazy. It's not one of those ones where, especially with this year's of FIFA, it's going to blow you out of the water. So if you want to take Xavi once again for like a Barcelona icon, or if he's one of your favorite players, I don't blame you. For me personally, I don't think a Moments version of Xavi is going to be all too expensive by the end of the year. So for me, I'd kind of skip on this one as well. I'm not a massive fan of it. So that's kind of the deal for that. Now, moving upwards to 9 tokens, we do have Stoichkov's Prime card. And I will say, Stoichkov usually is one of those cards where I feel like people kind of overlook him in terms of icons just generally overall. He is kind of like, I would say, almost Puskas-esque in the sense you've got really high pace, dribbling, and shooting with the 4-star skills and the 3-star weak foot. I think he's a bit worse than Puskas. I maybe would compare him maybe to a baby or a mid Puskas maybe. But the card, I've played up against him a couple times when I've played for champs just generally across the years, and he can do a bit of damage. He's not a bad striker, definitely not. I think if you were to get it from an icon pack, you'd be like, you know what, it's a usable card. You could definitely do some damage with it. It's not a bad card, definitely overall. Great shooting on the card, all right dribbling, definitely very decent dribbling, and he will do a bit. But again, once again, this is going to be 9 icon sub tokens. This is basically all your tokens for this time round. If you need an icon attacker, it's not a terrible option. Again, I'm just not anything crazy about these sort of cards. I'm kind of like more so into the moment cards for the most of it all. But yeah, for these first 3 options, if you really want to take them, you can. I think Stoichkov will be a good icon attacker. These 2, you kind of have to play on the sentimental value, I personally think, because I think in this year's meta, you're not going to get the most out of them, unfortunately. So that's kind of the deal with that. Now, moving on upwards, we do move over to some actually very interesting cards. The first one, of course, is going to be for 10 tokens, and it's going to be the Moment Steven Gerrard. Now, you're looking at this and you're going to think to yourself, wait, why have they gone ahead and they've put a pack here instead of just showing the player? And the reason why I think this is because they don't want to add the Moments cards into the database, or they can't do it just of yet. So if you are to claim this, this is going to be in 4 weeks' time. So I'm assuming the Moments should be out by then. And you'll probably be able to open up, and it'll probably just be Gerrard walking out of pack. Maybe they'll put in some consumables. I don't really think they'll put in really all too much. It'll probably will just be an icon pack that has the guaranteed icon in it. So we don't actually know what the stats of this Moment Steven Gerrard is. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it yet. But whenever they come out, I guess hopefully they'll be good. And if you're a Liverpool fan, I think a lot of Liverpool boys may be taking the Steven Gerrard card. He's usually not too terrible as a midfielder. I know his mid and his prime isn't that bad, but once again, with the power curve of midfielders this year, I think it's going to be quite hard for him to shine through against a lot of those more beefy center mids this year, like Fofana, like Renato Sanchez, especially a lot against all those Team of the Year cards as well. So that might be something you have to consider. And this will be one that, once again, you'll have to claim after the 4 weeks time. So you're not going to know the stats until they come out. So that's kind of the whole deal of it. Now, next up for 11 tokens, we actually have Prime Cafu. And what I will say about this card is I actually already have, I'm actually going to go into this, I'll show you guys. I have the mid Cafu, and I really enjoy the mid Cafu. I think he's absolutely incredible. And if I'm not mistaken, the difference between this card and the Prime is that, let me just quickly bring it up. The Prime has like plus ones, plus twos, and then a couple plus threes and stuff here and there. I think he's got plus threes in the defense, if I'm not mistaken, as well as plus 4 hitting accuracy. And then the other big one, and I would say it is a pretty big one, is the plus 5 in its stamina. He's got 95 stamina. And that is something that I actually do find myself thinking it might be useful, because I do find myself maybe subbing off Cafu and then bringing like someone into the right back spot, because I don't think his stamina is crazy at 90, but maybe that extra little bit of 95 stamina maybe lets him play for the full 120. But again, it's a right back, and I would say his right backs go, Cafu's card, at least for the mid and from what I've tried, is absolutely incredible. He's got high medium work rates, he's 5'9", but his build is very stocky, so it's not hard to lock onto players. And going forward, he's actually very good. 4-star skill moves, his passing seems really decent, and his defending is really good. So if you were to take this option for 11 tokens, I actually don't blame you. I think this will probably be close to, if not definitely, an end game right back, in the sense you could definitely run this card all the way to the end of the year. It depends on how much they boost the right backs by the end of the year, because it could do something mad. But as this card goes, I think he's a really top tier right back. I think he's like 750, 800k on the market, so he's got a bit of value there, definitely. But the thing is, of course, is you have to wait till the 4 weeks are up to claim this one. But if you want to take this one, I definitely don't blame you. I think it's a good, very meta card in this game, so that's a good option. If you want to take it, I think it's a good option. Now, moving upwards, we do have 2 more players, I believe. The next one is Fabio Cannavaro. Now, we actually did see a little bit of Cannavaro's card in this entire set. It was over in the news section, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and you can see the dynamic image over here. You can see he's kissing the World Cup. I believe that's for his 2006 World Cup win with Italy, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a very good card. When you look at Cannavaro, he's usually a very agile player. He's a bit smaller, of course, but he's quite fast. And this one's got a decent amount of physical with 89 physical. Of course, we can't see the in-game just yet. But the one thing I would say is it's 14 tokens, which is a lot of effort. And unfortunately for Cannavaro and just any icon center back in this game, just generally this year, it just is it's a bit too hard to replace what we have in this game normally. You guys know that we have so many crazy center backs this year. It's pretty hard for me to justify you going ahead and spending 14 tokens on a center back. If you think about some of the centers we have, like even just with the new Future Stars promo, cards like Lacroix and all that sort of stuff, those cards are really crazy. Kimpembe in the new Road to the Finals promo, and then even going back to like, I think Winter Wild cards, we have cards that are like Niakate, for example, who's like less than 100k, and he's got like 85 pace, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere close to that. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I think as icon center backs go, he will be very good, but as the whole general spectrum of center backs in this year's game, it's gonna be hard for him to break into will be very outstanding in this meta. That's the way I probably would. I think that's the way that makes the most amount of sense. So I think for 14 tokens, I'd probably pass on that. But once again, if you do want to take Cannavaro, if that's a card that you want to take, go ahead and take it. I just don't think with the number of other really good center backs we have this year, it's the most worth it. Now, moving upwards, we do have the final player, and this is for 17 tokens. And this, of course, is going to be the Prime icon Garrincha. And Garrincha's card is really good. I've actually played with this baby a lot of games. I'll show you guys just real quick if we go into one of the SBCs. His card is unbelievable. As a wide mid, I think he's probably one of the best wide mid / wide cams in the game that we have currently. And as you guys can see, we have this card. I think it's got the same pace and he doesn't feel slow, I would say. So that's good to know. And of course, with the 5-star skills, the 4-star weak foot, he's got the medium low work rates, which I don't really feel like is too much of an issue. I don't know if they change on the Prime, but with medium low, I feel like if I trigger the runs, he seems to move pretty well enough. So I don't really notice medium low too much. I think it's better than having medium, I would say. And yeah, I would say with this Prime version, you'd expect him to be probably an endgame card, definitely, in the sense like you could chuck him in a wide cam role or a wing role, and you can keep him there for so long. I haven't had a need to drop my baby Garrincha, and it's already almost, I would say, March, right? It's like mid-February, almost March. So if you want to take this option for 17 tokens, it's a lot of grind, and you're going to have to wait until April to go ahead and claim it, or late March to go ahead and claim it, but it would be a card that you could potentially run through till the end of the game if you really want to do it. I would say you'd probably want to boost the pace and then maybe the shooting, though. I think his passing and dribbling would be good enough. I'd say probably you want to boost the pace in the shooting. But as a wide mid, he's very good. So those are the players, and I guess the only ones I really highly recommend, I would say, is probably Cafu. Depending how Steven Gerrard's Moments card is, maybe potentially him. And then I think obviously the last one, if you want to take, is Garrincha. But I wouldn't say that any of the players are crazy good value. That's the one thing I would say. Now, moving onwards, of course, we do have the packs that we have to go ahead and also talk about. And I think this is the option that a lot of people will be taking because they give you some fun aspect and like that little bit of gamble, you know? So people love the gamble when it comes to icon swaps. And obviously, once again, for 2, 3, and 5 tokens, we do have the 81 times 25, 82 times 25, and 83 times 25 packs. These, of course, give you a lot of fodder. And if you open them up for the right promo, you also have the chance to go ahead and pack a lot of stuff. I think right now for Road to the Final, there's a total of 22 cards that are special that are live right now. So it wouldn't be a bad time if you really want to claim an 83 times 25 and 82 times 25. It wouldn't be a bad time to do that if you really want one of like Kimpembe or Renato Sanchez or Mahrez, for example, one of those cards. This would be an all right time to take it. And I think if you want to take these packs, I recommend you to do so, because I think this is one of those ones where you can take all the fodder from it and you can put it back into an icon pack, and you're not really like missing out on all too much. So of course we love the fodder packs. I would have liked to see them a bit cheaper than they were for icon subset number 1, but you know what? It's all right. It's all right. Now, moving on upwards, we do have a Prime icon pack for 8 tokens. I believe we have a mid or Prime out right now, and the SBC isn't crazy expensive. But once again, if this is what you want to take, this is going to be something that you would take in the first set of tokens, I personally think. So yeah, 84, 85, 85, 86. But this, of course, with this token and this pack, eliminates the mid option. So you only get a Prime for the swap version of this one. And look, if you want to take this pack as well, I think especially if you wanted to get an icon pack straight away right now, this is a great option as well. I think this is not something that I have all too much of an issue on, and if you want to take the Prime icon pack, I can definitely see a lot of people going for this, and I don't think it's a bad shout to take. So if you want to gamble with it and you want to do that right now, that's an option that you can take right away, and you can potentially get a Prime icon that slots straight into your team. Now, moving on upwards, the next option that we do have is going to be the 91 plus mid or Prime icon pack. Now, what I will say actually about this is actually not a terrible pack, because what you do have is, of course, you have more cards from the mids coming in, of course, because this one doesn't have any mids. This one does have mids. But the thing about this pack, just generally overall, is that it actually wipes out most of the bad mids. I think there's like maybe a couple in, I want to say like Van Basten and stuff like that. And obviously like Yashin. Yeah, Van Basten's also a 91. But I think there's not too many bad mid 91 pluses. Like if you're going to get a mid from this pack, most likely it's going to be one of Cruyff or Garrincha or Pele, Eusebio, Maradona, Ronaldinho. A lot of really good icons. I don't think there's too many mid icons that are bad from 91 plus. I could do a quick little check just to see if I'm missing any. Just for you guys, so you guys have like a definitive answer. Baresi would be another one that's kind of a bit and Roberto Baggio, and I think Van Basten and Yashin are the only other ones, and then every other mid icon is really good. So it knocks out a lot of the bad mid icons, and it leaves you with pretty much all good but 4 icons. And then, of course, with the prime icons, it also eliminates a lot of those bad prime icons that you do have that are 89, 90 rated, 88 for Nakata, that sort of stuff. So if you really wanted to take, honestly, like if you wanted to skip on this one and maybe progress up to this one, I actually don't blame you. I think it's a decent option, and you would have probably, I would say, a little bit of a better chance of getting someone that's usable for the rest of the game in this pack. So that's kind of like my verdict on the 10 token 91 plus mid or prime. Now, moving on upwards, we do have a mid or prime icon player pick, and you guys know the player picks, they're always a bit saucy. And the good thing about this time around for 12 tokens is that you actually get 1 of 3. If you remember to icon swap set number 1, we only were getting 1 of 2s. This time we get 1 of 3. What I would say is having mid or prime kind of opens up the player pool to having double the number of players. So it might be harder to hit on this one, but if you do want to risk it, that is event obviously there and you could potentially take it. Just keep in mind that you would have to spend 12 tokens for it. So you can only really combo it up with something that costs like 5 tokens. So it'd either be the 83 times 25 or the 82 and 81 times 25. So, that's something to keep in the back of your mind, but if you do want to play a pick, that's also there. And then moving on upwards, we do have a 92 plus prime icon pack. I'm going to say the thing with this one, like I did with, I believe it was the 90 plus mid pack or whatever it was for last season. This pack, I feel, doesn't cut off enough of the bad prime icons. So I would personally skip on this one. I think there's just too many bad icons that you could potentially get out of this 13 token pack. So that's what I would personally say. So if you're going to go for anything, I would personally just take this one instead for 10 tokens. And then, like, you have a better chance of also getting a mid thing. And then you've also got another 3 tokens to potentially put through something else as well. So that's kind of, I would say, with that one. I don't love the prime icon pack. And if you are going to do that, I think even I would prefer the middle prime icon player pick, because at least you got 3 options there. There's just not enough bad icons that they cut out from the prime icon pack. So that's the reality of that. And you also miss out on a card like Vieira, for example, who's not 91 prime, but he's an incredible card. So that's kind of like my thought process for that. And then finally, we do have 2 final options. One for 15 tokens. We have a 1 of 3 prime icon player pick. I could see this honestly paying really well, really out. Usually the player picks, if you guys have been seeing the mid ones, they're very good. There's usually the chance that you get at least 1 usable card in there. And I know it's a lot of tokens. I know it's a big grind, but if you want to save up for the 15 player pick, it's 1 of 3. I think it's not a bad shout. If you want to go for it, I say go for it. And then finally, for 16 tokens, you do have the 92 plus prime or moments pack. Now, once again, like with this one, it doesn't cut off enough of the bad icons, but this is essentially your only chance of getting one of those very top tier moments cards. So if you're one of those guys who is striving to go ahead and get the best of the best cards, I'm talking prime icon moments, Eusebio, R9, Hullet, etc., you got to get very, very lucky with this, but this is a chance to go ahead and get that. So I could understand if one of you guys want to go out there and get this 92 Primal Moments pack. It's your only chance of really having a very top tier moments. I could understand if you wanted to go ahead and get that. And that basically wraps up the entirety of our icon swaps overall. Once again, from the packs, I don't mind pretty much all of them, except I would probably say this one this time around, the 92 plus Prime Icon pack, just because I don't think it cuts off enough, and I think if you wanted to take this one instead and then just claim another fodder pack, it makes more sense in my brain. Now, finally, boys, I think we should talk about some of the combinations you could potentially go ahead and claim, and kind of recommend some of the options that you want to go ahead and get. So, first of all, what I would say is, of course, if you want to take one of the players and then fill out with the fodder packs, you can. I think the best option if you want to take one of the players is Cafu, I would say. And if you're going to take Cafu, you have 7 tokens remaining over, so you can go ahead and claim an 83 times 25 and an 81 times 25. Obviously, if you want to take Gerrard as well, if you're one of those Liverpool fans, you could do that as well and then claim instead of an 81 times 25 and 82 times 25. And also on top of that, if you're going to take Garrincha, you can't really combo it up. Now, one of the things I do want to point out when you're thinking about these combos is with this pack, you'll probably get enough fodder to go ahead and craft another icon pack along the way. So for me personally, I would probably, if you're going to take 2 icon packs, I would actually say go ahead and claim one one of these icon packs and then fill out the rest with the 3 or 2 fodder packs. I think that's more ideal because you have the chance then to go ahead and pack something good, and then you'll probably have enough fodder to complete the majority of an icon pack later down the line that might replace that for you. So I think if you want to go ahead and claim this one, the Prime Icon Pack, and you want to claim it for this season right now, you can go ahead and do that. And then obviously next season you claim the 83, 82, and 81 times 25s. But if you want to go ahead and claim this, and this will obviously for the next season afterwards, then what you would do is you would claim the 83 and the 82 times 25 right now for this season. And then you could go ahead and claim that 10 icon pack next season. So it's obviously a bit of a combination game, but I think either of those options aren't bad. I just personally wouldn't go ahead and claim the 2 icon packs because I think you miss out on the chance of packing something really good from one of the fodder packs. And I think the fodder packs are very, very valuable. Now, I guess also on top of that, if you wanted to do the player pick, you've got 12 tokens, so then you're really only claiming, I would say, if you have the choice between an 83 times 25 and an 81 and 82 times 25, go with the 83 times 25. It just gives you a lot more higher rated fodder. Because obviously the 81 times 25 is kind of a bit it's not the craziest. And I guess if you have to miss out on any of them, probably miss out on the 81 times 25 out of the 2, because these ones are usually lots of 81s, a couple 82s, and then maybe a couple walkouts if you can hit those. But that pack is pretty underwhelming comparatively to the 82 and the 83 times 25. And then I think finally what we do also have to talk about is, I guess if you're taking one of these, if you want to take this is not a terrible option. But what I would say is that you have to combo this up as well with another fodder pack. So if you're taking the Prime Icon player pick, you're taking an 82 times 25 this season round, and same with this one. If you're taking this one, you take an 81 times 25 with a season round. And that's kind of like all the combinations I would go ahead and recommend. I think for me personally, I'm torn between 2 different options. I think for me, the first option is I'm gonna probably either take the 83 and 82 times 25 this season, and the next season I'm kind of looking forward to go ahead and take this 91 mid or prime icon pack, because I think it just gives you that little bit of an extra oomph when canceling out some of those prime icons and the mid icons as well. Or I think the other option I'm very tempted to go ahead and do, because I know how good these player picks can be, is I might take an 82 times 25 this season and then also go ahead and take the prime icon player pick for the next season. That's the second option I'm kind of thinking about also as well. But yeah, that's kind of the entirety of the icon swaps. Hopefully you guys could get a bit of an idea of what you want to take. I think if you want to take any of the fodder packs, they're fine. If you want to combo up any of the icons with some fodder packs, that's also not too bad if you really want the icons. And I would say if you're going to combo up 2 icon packs, probably take one of the icon packs and then also go for the fodder packs, because you can craft up something else. That would be a lot more worth your time. But once again, when it comes to icon swaps, it really just comes down to what you guys want. And what you think is the most valuable for your club. For me personally, I think it's one of those ones where I take a gamble on either this pack or the player pick, the prime icon player pick, and then we take some fodder packs as well. So hopefully that kind of gives you a bit of an idea of icon swaps too, and I guess best of luck with the grind going forward. Once again, apologies if this video was a bit choppy, just because it is quite early on and sometimes I lose kind of train of thought and process, and hopefully it didn't drag on for too long. I'm trying to keep the videos somewhat succinct, but with this one it is a bit more rambly just because we have a lot of options and we kind of want to go a bit more in detail with a lot of the options. But anyway boys, that's gonna do it for the video for today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Hopefully that was helpful and give you guys a bit of an insight into icon swaps too and what you should guys take. And anyway boys, that's gonna do it for the video for today. Take care, have a good one, much love and peace.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find a light in your soul.